First, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trimmed with silver, his weight 245 pounds, and he stands 6 feet 2 and 1/2 inches tall. His professional record, 32 victories, including 26 knockouts, with only 2 losses. From Baltimore, Maryland, ladies and gentlemen, here is the challenger, Hasim The Rock Rahman. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing white and weighing in at 225 pounds. He stands 6 feet 4 inches tall. He brings a professional record consisting of 37 bouts, with 36 victories, including 26 knockouts and only 1 defeat. Ladies and gentlemen, from Pretoria in the New South Africa, making his 4th title defense, presenting the reigning and defending WBU World Heavyweight Champion, Corrie Sanders.
All right, boxers, you both received your instructions in the dressing room. Obey my commands, protect yourself a good time. Let's touch gloves, have a clean fight.
Jim, I don't know anybody who even thinks they know what's going to happen in these fights tonight. We're just going to have to wait a few seconds more.
Yeah, you're right. There are any number of scenarios you can pick for this fight. Now, Sanders, after having knocked out Al Cole in the first minute and a half of his last fight on February 19th, and with all that inactivity, I expect him to try to start fast, Emmanuel.
Well, I definitely think that Sanders is the most skillful and faster between the two fighters. The thing is, a lot of guys who are used to fight in their hometown, home countries, become a little bit unorganized and uncomfortable when they fight in different settings, such as him fight here instead of fighting in South Africa. The fight's going to be interesting in more reasons than one. First of all, I don't like the extra weight that Hasim has picked up. I think it's not that good for him at his height. And if that be the case, I think the speed factor could be a big factor for
Randy Cotton ruling a slip.
Yeah.
Corrie Sanders went down early.
But I think Corrie is a very good technical fighter. There's a lot of speed, and if he feels very comfortable and relaxed in this setting right here, it could be very difficult for Hasim.
Of course, as you see, Sanders is a southpaw, and you've seen Rahman starting out trying to mount his attack behind the right-hand lead. That's a change for him. In the past, Rahman has been effective working off the jab. Now he backs Sanders into a corner and tries his hand at infighting.
Well, the fact that Sanders is permitted to fight inside, but he seems to have been in control of everything. I just think the hand speed of Sanders is going to be a big factor.
Sanders lands a short left hand, seems to wobble Rahman a bit. Rahman fighting out of the corner. Corrie Sanders with his hands down, very relaxed in the early going against Hasim Rahman.
You know, we must remember that Rahman's last 2 major fights he lost by knockout, and they were really some powerful knockouts. He was hurt very seriously with Tua, and also the fight when he was knocked out by Oleg Moscow. So, you know, I don't know what effect that may have on him in addition to the extra weight.
Yeah, he got launched by a right hand and came all the way through the ring ropes and landed on his head on concrete. You wonder, just the psychological hangover from that experience is a question mark.
Could be a big factor.
Rahman trying the 1-2 there. Sanders easily blocking the jab with his right hand. Rahman's going to have to resist the natural instinct to work off the left jab constantly against Sanders. There he goes, the left hook to the body, and Sanders fires a counter in return.
Sanders' speed seems to be a big factor in this fight at this point in time. And I think the fact that Rahman seemed to have slowed down even more so. I think the weight that he's gained, which he gained primarily from what I understand from lifting weights, is not healthy that much for his height.
Sanders looks a little softer around the belly, particularly compared to Rahman, but there's a hard left hand, and obviously softness around the belly does nothing to slow Corrie Sanders. Remarkable hand speed for such a big man. Where's the
alright, maar meneer moet hem onderweg mixen. Je kan niet, je moet hem, je speelt met hem. Wanneer je die tijd hebt, zal je ontvangen. Alright.
Here, stuck it in. Now you got the little first round jitteries out, you know what I mean? Start jabbing them twice. Hands up when you jab.
Let's go to work.
How you feel? Good, good, good. He's only trying to steer you on shots, that's all. Shut your mouth.
The left hand followed by that right hand by Rahman.
CompuBox numbers in round number 1. Sanders 15 out of 60. Rahman 15 out of 46. Most of the connections were power punches. In previous fights we watched on tape, Corrie Sanders' corner, trainer Harold Bulbrecht spoke to him in English. Thus, no Afrikaans interpreter. We were taken by surprise when they spoke Afrikaans in the corner at the end of round 1.
Rahman has been primarily known throughout his career mostly as a right-hand puncher, which is good when you're fighting a southpaw, particularly because that's your best punch. And if he can land his right hand, he can possibly turn the fight around. But the fact that neither one of them are really effectively working with their jabs too much, that are landing, they're just using it as more of a pawing type punch, which means that the speed element is going to be a big factor for Sanders, and the power punch, I think, primarily is going to be going for Rahman. And it's interesting, too, that Rahman has been busier professional than Sanders, which, looking at his record, is really interesting that he has been very inactive. But the amateur career of Sanders was so much more extensive than that of Rahman, which, to my knowledge, didn't have much of an amateur career.
And there you see the action as Rahman landed a big right-hand counter after Sanders landed a left hand. Now Sanders trying to fire his left hand through Rahman's guard, and they trade punches in the corner. Corrie Sanders looking to hit a double or a triple, or maybe even a home run.
Okay. This is turning out to be a good fight here. Both guys are getting hit.
I think Sanders thinks he has Rahman in trouble.
Well, I think the fact that Rahman is laying in the ropes and going into a defensive mode is pretty much luring Sanders into believing that he hasn't hurt. But the biggest thing is, to me, still is the speed and the extra weight that Rahman has picked up, which I don't think is going to help him.
And you saw Rahman overcommit on a right hand, and Sanders was able to pop him with a quick left. That drove Rahman back into the ropes. Rahman is having to reach from way back with the right hand, and Corrie Sanders is stepping up inside and taking advantage of those counter opportunities.
Yes, he is. And at this stage here,
there it was again.
Sanders is slowed down his footwork, and his speed is up from his hands, but not from his foot anymore. And as a result, I think this fight's going to turn out to be a slugfest.
Well, if Rahman overcommits to one more right hand and Sanders can time the left-right, we'll find out if Rock can take his punch.
Stop punch.
And there it is again, and this time Rahman's in trouble. Sanders pounding the left hand through the guard. Rahman wobbles back into the corner. Round 2's about to come to a close. Not a second too soon for Hasim Rahman.
This is turning out to be an exciting heavyweight fight.
Rahman's new trainer, Adrian Davis, hurling him into the corner.
Kick your legs out. Kick your leg back. Give me some water. Give me the grease. Fuck it in. Now this round you box him, okay? You keep your hands up. You can only hit you when your hands down. Suck it in. Suck it in. Give him some.
Give me the water. Give me the mouthpiece.
Beautiful.
Moet niet kansen vat nie, Corrie, oké? Je eet hem in die bag. Wat is van? Al die kansen.
Rahman impressively came back from a short left hook with a right hand there. He is still rather fresh. Remember that when he suffered the knockouts, it was in late rounds where his stamina had been tested. But we're looking at Corrie Sanders here, who loves to go big game hunting in South Africa, and he is going big game hunting right here in Atlantic City tonight.
Wouldn't it be fascinating to see Rahman fall behind early and win a fight by outlasting his opponent, as appears might have to be the case here. In round 2, Corrie Sanders was able to get off 76 punches to only 48 for Hasim Rahman. So Sanders has been the more active fighter in the first 2 rounds.
And also, if you notice, at the conclusion of a punch, whenever Rahman throws a punch, if he misses it, he falls off balance. Very much because of the excessive weight, I think. And Sanders seems to be a little bit sharp and more crisper with his footwork.
Now Sanders appears to be trying to get a little bit of rest in the first minute of round 3, having thrown nearly 140 punches in the first 2 rounds. And Rahman has a chance to take advantage, and does with a right-hand lead.
Rahman is gambling everything on his right-hand lead, because that's his breadwinner. It has been throughout his career, but particularly in this fight here. He is not concentrating on his left hook or his jab at all. He's depending entirely on one right hand.
This is a power punch fight, folks. It's going to be Hasim Rahman's right hand against Corrie Sanders' left hand, and somebody's going to win this fight off their back foot.
And I think it's going to be pretty soon, too.
Body shot by Rahman.
It seems that Sanders is relaxed, and he's only watching Rahman's right hand. If Rahman would come back with a left hook, I think he would have a lot more going for him. But Sanders is watching only the right hand of Rahman right now. And I think what he's really dependent on is making Rahman miss a right hand and then trying to counter with the left.
Neither man has gone to the body much. Rahman is obviously thinking about it in this round. Some body punching now.
Oh,
set up.
That was it. He made it miss the left, right hand, and he countered with the left.
Absolutely. He timed it right that time. So there's the first knockdown of the fight as Rahman goes down and complains to referee Eddie Cotton that it shouldn't have been ruled a knockdown.
And he is wrong, of course, because the ropes held him up.
It was an explosive left hand off the missed right. Now Sanders tries to finish up with 30 seconds to go in the round and goes down himself on a counter right hand.
Yeah.
4, 5.
I think he's stunned as much as being hurt, because he didn't see the punch. He was in the process of trying to finish off Rahman.
I don't know when I've seen a fighter walk to his corner and go down to his knee to rest. Bell sounded too early. Round hasn't ended. Oh, that wasn't the official bell. Somebody else sounded a bell of some sort. Well, that was confusing, but the fighters got through it okay, and what a round.
Pretty much as we expected.
You know you're through, you can let it go. Just let it go.
Breathing good.
Now once you get your wrist, suck it in. This guy ain't got it. Soon you hit the hand, you're going to go. Come on, suck it in. Give him some work on the back of his head. Come on.
Moet niet op gaan staan en treden, alsjeblieft.
As long as you keep turning and stay away from his right hand.
Relax, box op spinnige jab. You see that?
That's the left right there. Coming in. Perfectly timed left hook by Sanders. And the ropes clearly holding him up. Sanders getting cocky here, trying to finish it. Leaves himself open. Rahman, to his credit, saw it and shot his right through.